Hello fellow Sudokans and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Monday the 21st of March 2022. It's a Monday. Welcome new Sudokans. Have your passport ready to be stamped. You don't need a visa. Actually, you don't even need a passport. All you need is the willingness to put up with some of my crazier chat and the willingness to learn something about this great game we call Sudoku and try it out for yourself. It's a practical game. Some people come on to learn with videos for the first time, and then obviously you need to go and play the game for yourself to find out what it's really about. Okay, Monday is our beginner's day, so I shall introduce you to the rules of Sudoku and tell you just everything about how to play the game at the beginning level. If you stick with it, you'll find there are more and more techniques that you can learn, tricks that you can employ, and enjoy the game to whatever extent you want. Obsess about it or just play it very occasionally if you prefer. Right, now I do normally talk about the news. That's why it's called The Guardian. That's why it's chat about all kinds of things actually, but particularly about what's in the news. It's all about war at the moment. And I have a bit of a news embargo on, really. I don't really want to chat about the news. It's making people far too depressed. So I shall just avoid talking about news right now for a while. So let's get on and see about how we play this game. So you'll see this grid of 9 squares in each of these rows across and 9 squares in each of these columns down. Now you'll see some are highly populated with numbers. For example, in this column here we have a 5, a 4, an 8 and a 9 already. But in this column here we only have a 6. Now because there are 9, you may be ahead of me already, but what we do is we fit numbers 1 to 9 into the each of the squares. Okay, now there is one further caveat that we have to understand, and that is that we have also these blocks, these regions, mini grids of 3 by 3, and we also have to fit numbers 1 to 9 in there. So how do we go about filling out this jigsaw puzzle? My stomach is making strange noises. I've just had breakfast, so it should be okay. Well, we have to understand that because there are only 9 squares in this block and only 9 squares in each column and only 9 squares in each row, the numbers 1 to 9 can appear once only in each row, column or block, and that's the key. So for example, let's look at this 6 here. Now it's as I mentioned, it's in this column already. Now if we look up here, these 3 squares in this block can't possibly be 6 because 6 is allowed only one time in this column. There are 9 squares and we need to fit numbers 1 to 9 in there. So this 6 can't be up here. So then how many other places can it go? Well, it can't go here or any of these squares because we already have a number. And so when the 6 blocks these 3 squares from becoming a 6, we know that the 6 must be in that square just there. I hope you understood that. Pretty reasonable explanation, I hope. Okay. Right, now you might think, well, okay, so now I have to look because this is almost finished, so I should look here. And sometimes that is a good idea, but sometimes you can see things in places where we don't have many numbers. I mean, for example, look, this block here has actually no digits placed yet. So you might think that's impossible until we get some numbers in there, but no, not really in the game of Sudoku. Let's consider numbers, the number 4, the digit 4. Now, we can see that 4 is already in this top row here, so that means it can't come in these 2 squares or these 3 squares over here. Okay, and then this 4, well, we've already got numbers across here, but these 3 squares are also eliminated. And then down here in this column, we can see a 4 blocking up. Now, these 2 squares are already blocked across, but they're also blocked from this up here, and then this 4 blocking up here. So look at that. You can see all of these intersecting fours leave us just one empty space, And so we know that our 4 goes there. Once you've found only one possible square where the number can go, you can put that number in. There is only one solution to each Sudoku puzzle, and so you just find, if as soon as you found one empty square where that number can go, you can place it. Don't worry about looking for other numbers or something like that. Right, okay, got the idea now? Great, let's press ahead then. So now this 8 blocks across this row. This 8 blocks across this row, so just one empty square here. There you go. Now, as I said before, this is a practical game, so you really do need to go and try it for yourself. Don't just watch the video. There's a link in the description to this game, and every game that I play on this channel, there are links where you can go and find the game and try it for yourself, which is what you need to do. Okay, right then. Oh, look, as we had the 6 blocking up here, look, there's also a 6 blocking down here, kind of a nicely mirrored, what's the word? I don't know, mirrored placement there. Now, you don't often find this on Sudoku, sometimes, but not often. The 6 blocking down here, so we know that the 6 has to fit there. Now, I'll try not to scare you off with any difficult techniques at the beginning. There are sometimes some very nice techniques that we can use. I'll try to show you some basic ones, but I don't want to scare you off and show you something that looks really difficult, because I think people often that will often turn people off of the game, as opposed to encouraging them to play it, which is what I want you to do. So I should try to look for the ideas that are rather easier first. Unless I get, if I get stuck, I'll come on to the more difficult things. And by the way, I don't play any of these games before starting the video. Now this 7 blocks across here, and we have a 7 up here blocking down. So that means the 7 must go there. Alright, now I'm going to show you something which you need to do. Use a little bit of imagination here. Now, as I said, right, we need numbers 1 to 9 in each block. So we have 3 empty squares. That means that we already have 6 numbers. So we know what the missing numbers here are. If we look through, we can see we don't yet have a 2, 7, or 8. So we've got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. So 2, 7, and 8 must fit into these 3 empty boxes, right? We sometimes call them cells. So that means that neither 2, nor 7, nor 8 can appear anywhere else in this column, because 2, 7, and 8 will appear somewhere in this column and therefore cannot reappear in this column. So 2, 7, and 8 are removed from these excuse me, from these squares down here. None of them can be 2, 7, or 8. Now, I particularly want to think about the 7, okay? No 7 allowed down here. Right, now, let's look at this 7 here. Well, 7 here blocks across like so, and 7 here blocks across like so, and 7 blocks down here. So because we know 7 is one of our missing numbers, we also know that that must be a 7. Was that okay? Not too tricky, was it? Good. Now, as I said, this is 2, 7, or 8, right? So now we'll consider the 8 blocking down here. So no 8's allowed in any of these squares, because 8 is one of our missing numbers up here in a straight line. Okay, so 8's are blocked here now, like this. 8 blocks down here, 8 blocks across here, and 8 blocks across here. Yes, only one square left where we can place our 8. Isn't it a nice game? Aren't you enjoying it already? Good. Okay, up. Now, you need to keep looking around the board. It's a mistake to get stuck in one place for a long time. I think you need to keep looking around. So let's say the 3's block across this row, 3 blocks across this row, and the 3 from down here blocks all the way up. So now we can place a 3 there. We'll take that 3. Now it's often a good idea to take the number you just wrote in. By the way, I recommend pen and paper for this as the way to begin. So the 3 we just wrote in blocks down here. This 3 blocks up here. So we now know a 3 goes there. I think pen and paper is the best way to begin learning if you haven't played before. And then you can use any of these. There's a link to this Sudoku exchange in many of the on many of my videos on this channel. And if you want to use the in fact, there'll be a link in today's description. You can use this, but I do recommend trying pencil and paper for your first games. Okay. All right. Now, here's a different technique and one that will stand you in good stead. What are the missing numbers down here? Now, again, we've got 3 empty squares. They're in a straight line, which is good. And we can know what they are because we have the other 6 numbers. So let's see what's missing. Do we have a 1? No. Do we have a 2? No. Do we have a 5? No. So we know that 1, 2, and 5 have to fit into these 3 squares, okay? Right now, let's look and see. Well, we have a 1 here, but we also have a 5 in the same row. So let's think about this square. We know it has to be either 1, 2, or 5, right? Because 1, 2, and 5 are in these 3 squares. So if this square can't be a 1 and can't be a 5, well, then it's got to be a 2, hasn't it? Because nothing else is possible. And then now the 1 and 5 are now squeezed into those 2 squares down there. Okay? All right, let's do this. 9 blocking all the way up here, 9 blocking up here, 9 across here, so just 1 empty square for a 9. And in fact, this 7 now blocking, oops, excuse me, my mouse in a straight line. 7 blocking up here, 7 blocking up here means we can place a 7 there. Now, do you remember, don't say the 21st night of September, that's a Earth, Wind and Fire song. The missing numbers here, 2, 7 and 8 were the 3 numbers that have to fit into these 3 squares here. Now, focus on this row, and if you just learnt something a moment ago about this, all right, have a look at this row and think. Missing numbers here are 2, 7, and 8. Have you spotted it yet? Okay, I think that's long enough. This square here. So this is 2, 7. Remember, 2, 7, 8, 2, 7, 8, 2, 7, 8. 3 possibilities for these squares. Can it be 2? Well, we don't have any information to tell us it can't be 2. Can it be 7? Well, now we just put in a 7 in this square, so clearly no, it can't be 7 because we already have a 7 in this row. Can it be 8? No, because we have had an 8 in this row since the beginning, actually. So if it's not 7 and it's not 8, it's got to be 2. Okay. Now here's another thing, another way of looking at Sudoku. This way we have only 2 empty squares from this row. Here we were looking at empty squares within a block, and now we can look at empty squares within a row. So we have 2 spaces here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any 6? No. 7, 8. Any 9? No. So that means that we know that for these 2 squares in a straight line, 6 and 9 have to be the missing numbers. Now, in fact, if you look up, you'll see both a 6 and a 9. So we have double helpings of assistance here. This 9 says that this square can't possibly be 9, and this 6 says that this can't possibly be 6. So it's very easy to know. So our 9 goes here and our 6 goes here. We're not normally that lucky and find double helpings of assistance like that, but from time to time we get lucky, right, in Sudoku. Now I also want to show you that sometimes you can find numbers in one of two ways, more than one way, right? If you examine this row here, you'll find the missing numbers are 1 and 6. Okay? Now, 1 and 6 must fit into these two squares. Those are the numbers we don't yet have for this row. Now, if you look down here, you'll see a 6 blocking this square. 6, oops, excuse me. Helps if I draw in a straight line. 6 blocks this square, so we know that the 6 has to be there. That's one way of looking at it. Or you could do something else. You could say 6 blocks up here and 6 blocks across here. There is only one blank square in this block now, so it doesn't matter. You will often find more than one way to find a number, but the number should still be the same. If it's not, you've made a mistake and you probably need to go back to the beginning. And when I say go back to the beginning, I mean just throw it away and start again. And don't worry, there will be many times when you're a beginner that you will need to do that, and don't feel bad about it. Right then, so there's only one number missing here now, so because there's only one number missing, we know what it is, right? It's a 1. We don't yet have a 1 for this row, so we'll place it now. Okay, so we've got 2 rows complete already, and we've got some places where we just have a couple of squares missing. Okay, but we need to focus our attention all over the grid, not just in one place. You'll find that will help you, I think. Okay, here's another technique. Now let's have a look at this column here. Okay, now you can see that there are a lot of blank squares. We have 5 numbers to fill in. That's a lot, not just like 2, which is much easier, but now we have 5 empty squares. But one thing you can see is we don't yet have a 9. We've only got 3, 5, 8, and 4, so we don't yet have a 9 in this column. Now, when you think about this 9 here, remember a number can appear once only in a block. So this 9 can't come in any of these 4 squares, right? So in particular, we're thinking about this row here. This 9 blocks both this square and this square. Actually, we have an extra 9 blocking this square, but I don't need to think about that for the moment, because this 9 here blocks both of these squares. Now, how about this square in this column? No, there's a 9 interfering, and so this square is blocked as well. How about this square? Any news, any information? Don't know anything about it, so we'll leave it. One more square in this column. Yeah, I think you've seen it already. There's an intersecting 9 here, right? So in this column now, there is only one space that is not affected by other 9s, so we know that the 9 must go in that place there. Are you enjoying the game yet? I hope so. The delight comes in playing it for yourself, really, where you suddenly work it out and go, ah, oh yeah, oh, I love it. I think you'll find that kind of feeling once you play a few times. As I said, I don't play these games ahead of time, so I have no idea of the actual answer to this game right now until I get to the end. I also don't know the final outcome, the correct answer. So just got to keep playing it. As I said, though, although as somebody with a lot of experience, I might tend to use more difficult techniques. I'm avoiding that for these beginner level videos, because I think they will just get people confused until you've got the basic concept of the game, and once you've got that, you can go on to the more difficult things. I've gone quiet for a moment because I need to look. As I said, I have no idea. So I need to look as well. Here we go. Right, now there is a 4 blocking down this column here. I want to focus on this middle block here. And there is a 4 blocking up here. So guess what? There's just one empty square that goes there. Now we have 4 blocking across this row and a 4 blocking across this row. So one empty cell here and a 4 blocking down here and blocking down here. So the 4 fits there. And now we have actually completed all the 4s. Look, you'll notice there's a 4 in every block. We have 9. So again, this you know, we often referred to as a game of 9s. There are 9-digit 4s because there is one 4 in each block, and there are 9 blocks. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to show you again another technique, which might seem a little bit complicated. I don't think it's too complicated for you. Right, now, so we've already learned that if we have just 2 numbers in a row or a column or a block, we can find out what those numbers are, okay? Sometimes we can find out the exact number. Sometimes we just know we are limited to 2 numbers. Now, in this case, what are we missing? We are missing 2 and 5. I'm just thinking if this is going to help. Hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. 2 and 5 have to fit here. Okay. So if we know that these squares contain 2 and 5, now can we place them? No, we don't know which is which, but we know 2 and 5 go here. Then we only have 2 other squares left. So now we can say which numbers fit into these 2 squares, knowing that they are not 2 or 5 because 2 and 5 must appear in these 2 squares here, right? So let's see, could it be a 1? Yes, we could have a 1 in one of these 2 squares. Could it be a 2? No, because 2 is over here. Could it be a 3? Yes, 3 could be in one of those 2 squares. Could it be a 4? No. Could it be a 5? No, because that will be here. 6, 7, 8, 9. So because we know that this is 2 and 5, it means that we also know that these 2 squares must contain 2 and 3. So let's see if we can find out the 2 and the 3. In fact, we can find both of them because up here we have a 2 and across here we have a 3. So in fact, again, we have double assistance here. So we know that this square here cannot be sorry, forget that 2. Sorry, rewind my conversation. See, proof that I never practiced these games ahead of time. Forget the 2. The 2 is here, right? Not a double helping. Forget that 2. Don't worry about it. 3 is what I was actually thinking about. The 3 blocks this square here, right? So we know that the 3 must, remember, this is 2 and 5. This is 3 and 1. Sorry, I think I may have said 3 and 2 by mistake. 3 and 1 fit into these 2 squares. That's my mistake. The 3 blocks this square, so we know that the 3 is here and the 1 fits there. Okay, now you could have done that, or you could have just said 3 blocks across here and 3 blocks down here. So that was the only square available. 3 goes there. And then 1 block's down here now, so 1 goes here. So as I said, there are often multiple ways to come up with the same number. Excuse my accidental confusing you there. Right, 1 blocking down here, 1 across here and 1 down here puts a 1 there. Now 1 across here and 1 up here, so 1 empty square there. And 1 going up here and across here means we can now place a 1 there. And now there, what are we left with? Okay, 1's down there. Right. Okay, so we're making good progress. You can see a lot of blue numbers now filled in. Black were the original numbers that were given from the beginning. Okay, this this block here does not yet have a 9, so 9 must appear in one of these 3 squares here, but we can see an excuse me, an intersecting 9 up here blocking down here, and intersecting 9 blocking across there, so we know that 9 fits there. And now 9 is also done. We have a 9 in every block, so both digit 4 and digit 9 are now complete, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. Right, now you might imagine it gets easier and easier as you go along through the game, and that is true to some extent, but not wholly true. Sometimes it can actually get very difficult at the end, especially for the harder level games. Okay, so now here is a row with 3 empty squares, so I think we can work out what numbers are missing, right? The missing numbers are in fact 2, 3 and 5. 2, 3, 5 are what we need to fit into this square and this square, the empty squares in this row. Now have a look and see if you can find anything using things that I mentioned before, 2, 3 and 5 in these squares. Do we have any information that will tell us? Okay, I've given you long enough. This square is the one we need to focus on. Now let's see. Do we have any intersecting 2s? No. Do we have any intersecting 3s? Yes, there's one here blocking that 3. Do we have any intersecting 5s? Yes, there's one here. So this square is affected by the 3 and the 5. Now remember, there are only 3 numbers allowed in these squares, 2, 3 or 5. So if it's not 5 and it's not 3, this square has to be 2. And that's probably going to finish the game. Sometimes you get like a key number, you find one number, and from then on everything else goes very quickly. So this 2 blocks across here, so a 2 fits here. Now we only have one missing number here. We know it's a 5, so we can put the 5 here. And if you remember a moment ago, we had 2, 5 and 3, so now we can put our 3 in that square there. Now if we look at this column here, there's only one number missing from the column, and so we can work out what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a 5? No, so we know that's a 5 then. And what else is missing? Okay, 6 stops this square from being 6. We are 2 numbers missing here, 5 and 6. The 6 blocks this square here, so 6 goes there. And the 5 is the last number we need to complete this block. Okay. Now we can see down here we're just one missing number. And the number that's missing to complete this column is a 2. So we place that 2 blocks across here, 2 blocks down here, so that's a 2. And this 2 blocks up here, so that is a 2, like so. And the 2 blocks across here, so that is a 2. And there's only one place. Okay, so we've got 8 2s at the moment. And this is very good. When you find we have 8 of a particular digit, we can always get the last one, always. We always have enough information to get the last digit of that particular number. So we can say 2 blocking across here, and so 2, and 2 is now finished. Now there's one number missing up here, it's an 8. If you investigate, 8 blocks across here, so that is an 8. The last number for this block is a 7. I'm going a bit fast now, I hope it It's just because I can already see the numbers that are there. It might take you a bit longer to do that if you're a beginner. 7 in this white square now. There's one number missing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 6. So 6 is the last number either for here or for this block or for this column. It doesn't matter. Whichever way you look at it, it will be a 6. 6 is also the last number we need there, and 6 is now done. So we don't have many numbers to get now. There's one missing number here, and it's a 5, either from this block or this row or this column. It's the same. It's a 5. And one number missing down here now. It's a 1. Now 1 blocks across here, so that is a 1. The last number here is a 5. 5 blocks across here, so 5 goes there, and the last number is a 3. Okay, so that's your first game of Sudoku, or if you just like playing the easy levels, I hope that gave you a bit of better understanding of basic technique. And there are plenty of other easy level games here on this channel. There's a whole section of easy or beginner games, or you could check out the Monday Guardian if you prefer, Guardian Easy or something like that. Lots and lots of them. Okay, that's it, and hope to see you again. Come back for more Sudoku and chat about all kinds of stuff entirely unrelated to Sudoku, but stuff that I hope will be sometimes interesting, sometimes entertaining, and occasionally neither of those things, but just irrelevant stuff. Anyway, bye-bye.